Greeting, professor and classmates. This is week 2 discussion, and today I'm gonna kind of talk about the architecture or the infrastructure of a POS system, and basically a point of sale system. Most of us we identify that as like when we go into a store where they ring us out when we buy products and et cetera, et cetera. But we're gonna look at it in a architectural way. So. But again, it's used for a variety of things. It's used for administrative purpose, management, marketing. It can be used for inventory, accounting. There's a lot of things that the POS system kind of gathers in an informational system. So looking at the structure that we have, first of all, you have, if we was to use a POS system, number one, you got to have, if it's going to use an online type of POS system, you're going to have an internet provider. Okay, so the internet provider would be any services. It could be AT&T, it could be Verizon. There's several options out there. But in a POS system, so you got your internet provider, okay, and which is the service. One of the things that was inside of our instruction line, there was a DSL. Now, what I would do, I'm going to kind of go in the format of what I would do in the POS system, what I would change and what I would not change. Okay, number one, I will make sure that I have, if I was using an internet provider, I would make sure I have the fastest speed out there, because the faster, the better. Okay, because when it comes to interacting and information system communicating each other, you really want that peer-to-peer, or you want that fast connection. So my choice, I wouldn't use DSL. DSL is kind of a slower, it's a slower internet connection. In other words, it's a slow to process, if you want to say. So I would look at a broadband. So I would actually change that out to a broadband service, okay? Which in my house, I have the 1 terabyte. So I get speed because I do web designing. So a lot of things that I do requires me to do a lot of things, including I have to ensure that my computer's fast too, with a fast processor. But in the POS system, you do want a faster internet. So I would go with broadband. I wouldn't use DSL. Another thing, I will connect your POS system should be connected to a VPN server, which is it's a secure network. It'll secure everything. So everything that processes through your router, your VPN router, is going to secure and it's going to protect your clients and your customers. So I will make sure that VPN router is also at the highest capacity processor that can be too. Okay, so that's one of the things that I would definitely do. Make sure that those are compatible with each other. In other words, your VPN router and then also your internet service, I'll make sure that it's fast enough to be compatible with each other. Okay, and then when it comes down to the switching mode, yes, I would have a internal server, because what I do in my house, I do have a server which I back up a lot of my data. So the POS system, when it tracks all the different sales, and you're counting your customer data, tracking the usage of your customers, et cetera, et cetera. There's extreme things that the POS system actually does. So what I would actually do on that part, I will make sure that I have my server to back up that part, okay? And then also I will use a cloud backup. So I'll make sure that there's an automation in that area, so it'll back up on your hard drive as well as the cloud, which I do that with just doing with web designing. So I have a backup I have a hard backup, and then I have a cloud backup. So I would use that in the POS system too. Yes, I will have a printer. The printer will be connected. And then on the client end, I'll make sure I have a barcode or a scanner. And I will make sure that my POS system can actually create those barcodes. Because if you could create the barcodes, it's just make life a lot easier. So when you entry that data into the POS system, you can actually keep the product nomenclature, the UPC code, and all the other important data that tracks within that within the POS system. And it just makes life easier when you get ready to generate these different type of reports out of your reporting system. Okay, it kind of keeps a track line. So it's just like in and out. If I have a product that goes into my POS system and someone purchases it, I want to be able to keep a fast track inventory of what's in and out of my POS system. So all the POS system does that for you. So the whole infrastructure, I would completely, only thing I would change on there, like I said, I would make sure the high speed internet, the VPN routers is at a high compatible speed. Make sure I back up with the server, make sure I have a cloud backup. And what else would I change? That's basically it. And I'll just make sure I have the best software out there, because there's different software platforms that can be used in a POS system. So I would search for the best out there. But for the main architectural structure, that's what I would do. Okay. So that's all I really have to say. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope you got something out of it. You can read my summary post to get the gist of the details that we just discussed. I thank y'all, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.